Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be going over some workflow tips for saving a ton of time when making corner camera effects in DaVinci Resolve. Throughout the video, I'm going to be using my WippCam template from the EditorCollection, but a lot of these are going to work for stuff you make yourself or other templates that you might download. Though of course, I do recommend you check out EditorCollection as it's going to save you so much time. But let's hop into DaVinci Resolve and take a look at how I edit all of my videos. So when I'm editing, I usually have a section of my video that's always going to be full screen right at the beginning. In the case of this video, it's just one clip, but I essentially edit until the point that I want to put my camera down in the corner. Instead of waiting until you have the rough cut done to add in the corner camera effect, I recommend adding it while you're doing the rough cut. It's basically the only effect that I'll add in this process. So in the case of WippCam, you can come up to the Effects tab. Under Effects, we can find WippCam and we can drop this right on top of our video. The nice thing about this tool is it automatically animates right down into the corner, and we can customize all that stuff. Let's jump into that. So when you have clips linked, like I have my video clip and then I also have my screen recording right below that, I can't just click on one of them to access the effects. So in that case, what you need to do is hold down the Alt key and then click on the top clip. Now in the inspector, I can access the effects, and here I have all of my controls for WippCam. This lets me throw it around in any of the different corners, as well as use a custom pivot. And if I come down to the bottom left of the viewer, I can turn on Fusion Overlay, and I can just grab this point and move it anywhere that I want. And when I place it somewhere, it's automatically going to update that animation, so it all works as expected. But anyways, in this case, we're going to throw it down in the bottom right. I'm going to keep the camera size and the padding all in the same spot because this is my default settings, but I also want to come down here to shadow controls and enable a drop shadow. Now I also noticed that I look a little bit small inside this box, so I want to come to the reframe tab. I'm going to zoom this in and change the pivot so that way I fit in that box a little bit better. If you wanted, you could come in, add an outline, as well as change the mask shape, so this makes it all super easy to totally customize how this looks, change the corner radius, do all that. But again, I leave all this at the default settings because since I made the tool, I get to set my default settings as the actual default. As a pro tip, if you always make these same changes to it, like put it in the left, change the size and all that, and don't want to do that every time, use my Whip Macro tool to save it as your own version that shows up in the effects library. That's a free tool, link down below. Alright, but anyways, what we're going to do is open the Anim Engine, which is the animation framework that powers all of my tools. What we want to do is set all of our default animation settings. So typically I like to set the animation length to be 1.5, so that way it is just a little bit of a slower animation. Now what I also want to do is turn off the in and out animations, so that way it doesn't animate at all. Now when I'm editing, I have the benefit of seeing my screen recording in the background. So I'm going to go through here, I'm going to make a cut, come to the next section and cut this out. And this is the reason that we applied all those styling settings right away, because since I split this clip, these two versions of WippCam are now unlinked. So for example, on this first one, I might want to come in and turn on the in animation and even add a little bit of an anim offset so it doesn't animate down right away. So this one is able to animate down into the corner. It's just going to stay there. And on the next clip, it's going to stay down in the bottom. So this is set up super easy. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna make my cuts, keep going through until I find a spot that I wanna come full screen again. So what I'll do is come all the way to the end, I'll split it. I know I wanna be full screen for this entire clip, and there's two options that you can do here. The first one is alt clicking on this clip, coming up to effects and just disabling WippCam, and that's going to bring it all the way back up full screen. The nice thing about us disabling it is if I need to come back in here and make a change to it, I can just re-enable it like that. Now sometimes it's nice to have it animate back to the full screen instead of just snapping up and doing that rough jump cut. So let's turn on WippCam again, and I'm going to place my playhead towards the beginning of this clip. I'll enable the out animation and then just drag the anim offset up until I start to see the camera animating. So what I've essentially done is told it to take the out animation, which typically starts at the end, and move it 10 seconds to the left. So when I play this, it's going to animate back up, and then it's going to hold it full screen throughout the entire clip. I did say there's another way to bring this up full screen, and for some templates, you have to do this because they weren't set up quite right. If I Alt right click on the clip, I can come up to remove attributes, and I have this programmed to Alt R, so it's an even faster process for me. When this opens, I can select Fusion Effects, and then I can press Apply. When I do that, it's going to delete WippCam entirely. And this is using the really nice attributes feature on the timeline. So for example, if I wanted to add that back, I could Alt click on this top clip, then do Control C, and then on the second one where I want to add it back, I could do Alt V, and this is going to open up the paste attributes. So this already has Fusion Effects selected, and when I press apply, that's going to add it on. The nice thing about using this method, as opposed to just coming up here and disabling it, is it's a lot less clicks. Sometimes when you're editing, you can easily switch to this video tab or close the inspector, and if I want to disable it, I have to Alt click on the clip, come up to effects, and then disable it here. Can get a little time consuming if you have to do it a bunch throughout the project. So instead, what I do is when I'm going through here, I'll alt click on the clip, press Alt R, which is my keyboard shortcut, and it has the fusion effects ticked by default if you've done it once in the project. So all I have to do is press enter on my keyboard. It is way faster than having to go up to the inspector and do it that way. And if I need it back, I can just do Alt V to paste that effect back on. So it's a really simple workflow. But then I just continue going through my video, making my different cuts, deleting WippCam in certain cases, and then also playing around with those animation settings to, put me down in the corner, bring me back, do all of that fun stuff, as you've seen throughout this video. And guys, this is just one tool in the Editor Collection pack, and I want to make a lot more workflow related tutorials like this. So if you guys like these, leave a comment down below and let me know which tools you want to see a workflow video for. Huge thanks to everybody who has already purchased Editor Collection, and I'll see you in the next video.